Intelligent Ramblings with your host, Bill Lofton. Co-hosted by Gary Glenn and William Howington with help from John Cole.
Whoa, the lights have come on at Intelligent Ramblings. Welcome to Intelligent Ramblings. This is the 3rd of September, the year 2025. Hi, I'm Bill Lofton. I'm your host with our co-host, Mr. John Cone, Gary Glenn, and William Howington.
Good evening.
Well, we had I'd call it a pretty damn interesting weekend of college football. A lot of, I don't even know if you call them upsets, but a bunch of weirdness went on, like the Alabama and Florida State. Alabama took a ass whooping is what they got. They look like a high school B team against Florida State.
Yeah, and it wasn't a fluke. They just got whipped.
Yeah. It looked like Alabama hadn't been practicing in pads.
Well,
It really did, didn't it?
well, it took. This is let's see. Trying to think what it was. It was 237 games for the GOAT to get beaten four times by a non-rated team.
Yeah, an unranked team.
An unranked team. It took the GOAT 287 times. Well, it's taken DeBoer 14. 14 games he's gotten beat by unranked teams. And they are not happy with him in
Tuscaloosa.
Tuscaloosa. But we'll talk more about Alabama and that on down the road. But anybody else see some notable upsets this week? That's the first one that came to my mind.
I think the Texas-Ohio State game was interesting.
Yeah.
And Ohio State now the new number one, and Alabama, Texas has dropped all the way to number 7. But Texas, to me, looked uninspired. It was dull. They're conservative. They got down on the goal line. They should have done something. They just kept trying to jam it up the middle, shades of Pat Dye and Auburn. It's like, oh, yeah, let's keep doing that. We got a grand total of half a yard so far. So let's do that again. I didn't get it. And then, of course, and I said this, and I'm not the first one to say it, and you guys have heard me say it. Arch Manning was underwhelming at least, and their running back wasn't all that great either. What's his name? Weissner.
Arch reminded me of last year against Georgia, where, yeah.
Well, I got the stats. He was 17 of 30 for 170 yards, a touchdown. He had an interception. But that's only 56.7% of his passes. He did add 38 more yards on rushing, so he had a 200-yard day on offense. And if his last name wasn't Manning, everybody would have just said, well, okay, that's all right. It's not great. It's not awful, but it's really, if he was the Heisman favorite, he's going to have to really get on his horse or maybe on that steer.
His Heisman rating just ended after this past week, I believe.
Yeah.
He looked he looked like a first-year quarterback that's never played it down, in my opinion.
Well, you're playing one of the biggest games in the country, and you can only score 7 points. And this day and time when almost nobody plays defense anymore, I didn't get it. Like I said, the play calling was mysterious to me. I don't know what they were thinking. Of course, I'm not, paid a gazillion dollars to sit there and call those plays, but I was going, don't believe I'd have done that again and again and again. Didn't work. What's the definition of insanity? Keep doing the same thing over and over again, expect to get different results.
Yep. Well, I counted 6 errant passes that he threw in the game. 6. That was nobody's fault but his. threw it in the dirt, threw it over their head, threw it behind them, threw it in front of them. But I counted because I was the whole game I was watching. I was going.
I think it was more than 6.
But I counted 6. That myself personally. It might have been more. I could have walked out of the room, but it just didn't show very good to me. One of the other notable games was LSU Notre Dame. I think LSU and Clemson. Clemson looked lackluster. The quarterback Klubnik from Clemson blamed himself, and so did Dabo. He said if you're the best team on your team played a bad game, then that's the way it is. And then on the same interview, I heard Klubnik say I did not play well. They gave the ball to me and said go win, and I didn't. So I expect that Klubnik will make up for lost time the rest of the season.
That was a decent game. It was exciting.
Good game.
The Alabama thing was just a fiasco for the Tide. I mean, they were really out of that early on in like I said, the Texas-Ohio State game. If you like defense, you were in hog heaven for that one, but it was just uninteresting. I don't think defense, but I just again, that was mysterious to me. Texas will get well this week, though. They're playing San Jose State, who's also 0-1, and they lost to that great wrestling school, Central Michigan, 16-14. So they do have a good quarterback, the Spartans of San Jose State, Walter Eggett, who had 308 yards passing, a couple of touchdowns.
Right. Okay. Well,
Texas is favored by over 5 touchdowns, and so I think the Longhorns are going to.
We'll get to that in a minute, Gary.
Take it to them.
We got to do a commercial right quick so we can pay for this, and then we'll be right back with the picks.
Intelligent Ramblings is brought to you in part by Pat Williamson, a proud Dragon alumnus and a strong supporter of Jefferson athletics and academics.
Well, here we are with our picks for the weekend of the 5th. Have a little bit of music to keep it going. Anyway,
Picks.
here are the picks. And let's see what we got. Okay, San Jose State at Texas, Gary.
Well, like I said, the Spartans of San Jose State are 0-1. They lost to the Chippewas of Central Michigan by 2. Spartans have some decent players. Their quarterback, Walter Eggett, was 24-43. He had a couple of touchdowns and over 300 yards passing. Had a couple of picks. Floyd Chalk, their running back, picked up about 44 yards. And Danny Slidero, their receiver, had 9 catches for 189 yards. But Texas is still favored by over 5 touchdowns. I think that the Longhorns are going to be pissed. They're going to have something to prove. They got a chip on their shoulders. They're playing their home opener, and I think they're going to have their will and way with San Jose State this week. So Texas is a solid pick here, guys.
I'll have to
I
agree.
think so, too.
John?
Hard to go wrong with Texas in this one.
Yep, should be an easy one. Troy at Clemson. Well, Clemson got their wings clipped last week. They did not look good to me at all. They have a great defense, but it's just not enough, and that's why they're 0-1. That 17-10 loss to LSU. Klubnik, he went 19 for 38, 230 yards, and 1 interception, which was really a bad time to throw an interception. As if not any time hidden. Their converted running back, Adam Randall, that they were so high on, expecting a lot out of him, he had 5 carries for 16 yards. He did score a touchdown, but, 5 carries, 16 yards. That's, 3 yard per carry, not really good. I just was not impressed with Clemson's offense. They just looked like they were off. I'm not sure why, but they looked off to me. And I think this week against Troy, who had an 18-point victory over Nicholls State last weekend, I think they do not need to underestimate Troy. Troy is famous for knocking off teams that they're not supposed to beat, as in LSU, and who was a top 25 team at that point. They got knocked off in Death Valley. They beat LSU in Death Valley. And a couple years before that, they beat, I think it was Missouri or Mississippi State. I know it's one of those Miss states. But Troy is a Sun Belt team, but they're not in to be sneezed at. They're not a pay-for game like playing McNeese State or Montana State or something like that. Troy University is a legitimate football team. They won the Sun Belt Conference 2 years ago, and they had a little off year last year, but I think they'll have a good year this year. So Clemson does not need to come in there flat, or they'll get beat by Troy.
Been playing good for a long time.
Yeah, they've been consistently good for years and years and years.
Especially in their league.
You remember Rob Thomas? Well, that's where he's at. It's at Troy. Quarterback Will Crowder last week went 14 for 24 and 144 yards and 3 TDs against Nicholls State, which is not a bad team, but it's not a good team. And
Georgia played Nicholls State a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and this was a pretty easy win for Troy. Anyway, I'm going to have to go with Clemson just because it's at Clemson, and Clemson's probably, I don't want to imagine what kind of practice they went through. I imagine Dabo was crawling way up their butt all week. So I am. That's a nice way of putting it.
Clemson, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I think Dabo probably pulled a page out of the late Jim Stoudemire's book when Jefferson lost to a team they probably shouldn't have lost to, and Coach Stoudemire told the team, "Y'all not going to like me very much next week."
Austin Peay at Georgia.
All right. Well, Austin Peay, they played once before. That was back in 2018. They are the Governors because memory serves, Austin Peay was the governor of Tennessee and founded that university up there. In 2018, it was 45-0 Georgia. Georgia, because of what happened above them, rose to number 4 this week in the AP poll. They are coming off that beat down of Marshall 45-7, and Austin Peay beat Middle Tennessee 34-14. So they're both coming off of wins there. But Georgia, of course, is a huge favorite. One source says Georgia should score every time it touches the ball if they want to, and Austin Peay will never cross the goal line. That's the current thinking, but you never know. You never know. Maybe they might get a field goal, the so-called experts are saying, but that's why you line up and play. Trying to see the Austin Peay quarterback had a couple of touchdowns passing 190 yards and 2 rushing 73 yards. The team had 488 total and 2 rushing. And no, I'm sorry, that's Georgia. Georgia's Gunnar Stumpton had 190 yards passing and 73 rushing. And the team had 488 total yards and a couple of rushing touchdowns. Defense held Marshall to 207 yards and a total of 1 first down in the first half. And my prediction is Georgia by a bunch, and Ryan Puglisi should see a lot more action than he did against Marshall. Although, he came in through a touchdown pass. That's the backup, Puglisi.
Good.
Yeah, he is. And if I'm Kirby, and we're doing the same thing to Austin Peay that we did to Marshall, I'm pulling my starters early in the third quarter, because the only thing that you can do is get hurt in some fluky fashion, and you don't need that happening in a game that you're probably going to win by a whole bunch. So Austin Peay is going to be a solid underdog in this one, and I think that's probably right.
I'm going to that game. Me and my son are headed that way to Athens.
Well, Jill and I went to see them the last time they played, which is the only other time they played each other, back in 2018. Like I said, that was a spanking. It was over with pretty quick. And I think we actually came down out of the sunshine up there. We were way up in the nosebleed section and got into the shade for the second half of the game. We stayed for most of the game, if I recall.
Yeah,
but that was 7 years ago, and I have trouble remembering what I had for lunch. So,
William,
We're not in the
I'll
state.
look
We're in
for
the
you.
lower deck.
Hey, William, I'll look for you. Andy Wilkes and I are going to that game too.
no, we'll say hey to Andy.
I will.
North or
All right.
south?
North stands.
We're in the south.
Y'all meet on
Oh,
the
well,
field.
you'll be able to see each other really easy. Then you'll be across from each other.
Yeah.
In theory.
You won't be the only people there. I'll put it that way.
Oklahoma State at Oregon.
I think I've got that one too. Oregon ranked number 6 in the latest poll. Both are 1-0. Oklahoma State beat UT Martin 27-7. Oklahoma State Mike Gundy says Oregon is spending a lot of money. You think that's a subtle way of saying pay for play?
Yeah.
And he says it shows. And you got to agree. I mean, Oregon has the Ducks have really come on in the last, say, 10 years or so, haven't they? I mean, you used to never hear anything about Oregon, once in a blue moon maybe, but they weren't even a factor. But now they're a factor in just about every conversation we're talking football. But not only are they going to be the favorites in this one, just on the basis of starters versus starters, but Oklahoma State's already lost one quarterback to a broken foot, Paul Kingy. And they got to take on an Oregon team which is just absolutely full of draft picks. Just absolutely full of draft picks. In fact, their offensive tackle, Isaiah Worrell, this is the Ducks now. He's a little fella, transferred in from Nevada, 6'8", 315. Yeah, 6'8", 315. The Ducks opened with a win over Montana State, 59-13. Dante Moore, 18 for 23, 213 yards and 3 touchdowns. Dan Lanning has had good recruiting classes for a while, and they're favored by 4 touchdowns plus. And the Ducks, my prediction in this one, will fly home over Oklahoma State. Just don't think the Cowboys have got enough bullets in those 6 guns they carry.
Yeah, Oregon by a long shot.
Well,
Yeah, I think we all have Oregon.
I'd pick Oregon, but Oklahoma State could slip up and surprise them. Yeah, I mean, they got that kind of. Mike Gundy is a great coach, and I like his attitude. So he's always been one of my favorites. But and I'd like to see Oklahoma State beat them. I think it'd be hilarious. But because nobody thinks they will. But
Appalachian State, Michigan. I mean, come on. I mean, it can happen if you're caught napping. Ben Stooley once said something I've always remembered him saying. He said, I am accused of being a pessimist. He said, I am a realist. What Vince would say. This was after he'd said something about the quickest speed of anybody I've ever seen. Things like that. Or what? Yeah, coach, he's a great punter because he gets a lot of practice because they never get a first down. But anyway, he said, basically, he said, I've got to prepare to meet a team that's playing the best that they have ever played when we might not be playing the best we've ever played. If you do that, you won't be surprised. But if you go in there thinking you got it in the bag, things can happen. But I still think the Ducks are going to win this one.
It's like Fran
Just told Fran said Austin P. Mascot looks like Mr. Peanut. Fran, I think he's supposed to be a governor. Well, you're right. But I think he's supposed to be a governor because of the mascot. So forth.
Well, Alabama, I think the coach is on the hot seat regardless. He's got such a high buyout, almost $70 million. Talking about Kalen DeBoer now. And the Alabama people are not used to getting beat like that. I mean, it's one thing to get beat, but to get beat the way they did, I mean, that's another thing. Like we said, that's the first time in 17 years that they've dropped down to a point this low. And they're not real happy at being number 21. So I look for Alabama to come back. University of Louisiana Monroe has always upset people when they weren't supposed to. I'm not picking them, but don't be surprised if they play well. They beat St. Francis out of Pennsylvania. Of course, it's hard to lose to just one guy, St. Francis. He's kind of old and feeble.
Not a lot of competition up there.
Well, it's good with animals.
But it's a Pennsylvania school. And, you know, they might get a lot of leftovers from Penn State and Pittsburgh. So they might be better than they look. They were 4-7 last year. University of Louisiana Monroe is 5-7. Like we said, they're both teams are probably going to have to play their best to win the game. I don't think Alabama's going to walk all over them like everybody's predicting, but they could. I'm predicting Alabama simply because surely to goodness they won't lose 2 in a row.
Yeah, you got to figure those teams that are really pissed off right now, Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, that they're now 0-1, and they're going to really have attitude when they play these teams.
Yeah. Well, you hurt your pride a little bit. You got kids, basically. You know, although I think one of them's got one of them's got like a 24-year-old quarterback now, but it's still, it hurts their pride. If you're a competitor, and surely they're playing college football, they're going to get out there and get their attention this week, and they're going to go out there and hopefully show what they're made of. If not, then you've got a real problem with your team.
Okay. Kansas at Missouri. Well, let's see here.
I'm going with Missouri. That's the SEC team.
This is a tough one with me. Eli Drinkwitz has turned it around up in Missouri, and they've been a pretty consistently good team. They've been a great team, but they've been a good team. Last week they went 1-0 with a victory over Central Arkansas, 61-6. But the injury bug started with one of their quarterbacks. Their quarterbacks are basically in a quarterback competition, and one of them, Sam Horn, injured his right leg on the first play of the game. And not to mention kicker, Blake Craig tore his ACL after the third quarter. So the injury bug has definitely jumped on Missouri real fast. But quarterback Bo Perbila, who is a transfer from Penn State, the guy that was competing with Horn for the starting job, did go 23 for 28, 283 yards and 2 TDs. So that ain't bad. Their running back Ahmad Hardy had 10 carries for 100 yards and 1 TD. So they pretty much did what they wanted to do with Central Arkansas. Louisiana Tech may be a little bit more on the stubborn side. Last year, Coach Sonny Cumbie led his team to a 5-8 season. But they started off this season with a victory over Southeast Louisiana, 24-0. Quarterback Trey Kukic was 14 for 19 for 130 yards and a TD. So, the quarterback had a good day, and the running back got 6 carries for 61 yards. It's about a 10-yard per carry. So, it's a... oh, shit, I'm looking at the wrong thing. That's Missouri. I mean, I was talking about Louisiana Tech. All right, let me go back. Kansas. Whoops.
What about Kansas?
You're not in Kansas anymore, Bill.
I'm not in Kansas. Okay. Okay, Kansas head coach Lance Leopold. Since 2021, Leopold left Wisconsin Whitewater with an overall record of 109-6 and a conference mark of 53-3. He earned 6 Division III national championships and 7 WIAC championships in 8 seasons. The guy's a winner. Wherever he goes, he wins. He's transferred Kansas, a team that went winless in 2020, to a legitimate Big 12 contender. He led Kansas to bowl eligibility in consecutive seasons and a 9-4 record in 2023. They had all season last year at 5-7, but I'm betting that Kansas is coming back. They've started off 2025 with 2 lopsided victories over Fresno State and Wagner. Now, this is a border war. They don't like each other at all. They haven't played since 2011 when the Tigers left the Big 12 for the SEC. Something I've questioned since it happened. Why are we getting Missouri in the SEC? Why not Texas or Oklahoma or somebody like that that's close, Clemson, Why I never did understand why we took Missouri in, but we did. It was the second most played rivalry in football division, with 120 matchups dating back till October of 1891. So they don't like each other, never have, never will. Their big game linebacker, Bengali Kamara, is doubtful of the game, but giving redshirt freshman John Kamara extended playing time. I've watched Kansas play, and I was very impressed with them. And for that reason, I'm picking Kansas.
Well, I hate Missouri, and I think the Tigers will have a home field advantage. So I'm going to disagree with you, Bill. I'll pick Missouri.
Yeah, I'm picking Missouri too.
Good. John, what about you?
I have got Missouri.
Good.
And I went back and forth about it, but I can see why you went with Kansas.
I just think their quarterback's too hard to handle, and I think that I just don't think Missouri's got it tightened
Well,
up
those injuries.
this year. They got injuries, and I just think it's. I don't think their defense is up to par when it comes to Kansas' offense.
The quarterback that got hurt at Missouri, he's from Georgia. Didn't he go to Collins Hill?
I think he did.
Not sure about that.
Yeah. I believe so.
This game and Michigan and Oklahoma are the 2 best games coming up this weekend.
Of the weekend. I agree. John, if you'll check that, I went back and changed my vote. I initially taken Missouri, but after researching this, I've decided to go Kansas. And so if you'll check that for me, I redid the whole thing. I didn't know how to change it, so I just redid it again. So it might have 2 in there for me. So
you have, you've got Kansas.
Okay.
The rest of us have Missouri, and after listening to this, I might change mine to Kansas.
No, I don't do that. I want to pick a game on all 3 of them. I need it. I got.
I'm not
last
changing.
week.
Surely.
Let's stay with Missouri.
All right, here we go. Louisiana Tech at LSU. Well, I've already covered Louisiana Tech. Where do I find mine?
Louisiana Tech, home of Phil Robertson and
Gary Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw was the backup to Phil Robertson, who passed away a few months ago.
I already talked about Louisiana Tech a little bit. That's a team with Sonny Cumbie. They're in Conference USA. Last season they were 5-8. They won last week with a victory over Southeast Louisiana, 24-0. The quarterback had a pretty good game. Got about 75% of his passes completed for 130 yards and a TD. They didn't have a lot of that. Southeast Louisiana didn't even score on them, so they had a pretty easy night. Now they're going to be playing LSU at Death Valley 2.
The other Death Valley.
LSU might have a letdown after that big victory.
Well, I think that there's a good chance for LSU to be flat after such a big victory up against Clemson on national TV, but I don't think that Louisiana Tech is in the league or the league below that or the league below that with LSU. LSU, Garrett Nussballer was 28 for 38 last week for 230 yards and a TC against Clemson. Their running back had 17 carries for 74 yards. And the receiver Aaron Anderson had 6 receptions for 99 yards. So their offense had a good game. I don't know what Dabo was talking about, giving them a 62 grade. Did y'all hear about that?
Yes.
No.
That was funny.
What did he say?
Dabo gave Clemson a grade of 58 and gave LSU a grade of like 62 or something like that, very close. So both of them had failing grades for the game. And Brian Kelly said, well, Dabo must not have watched the second half, or maybe he didn't want to watch the second half because we didn't fail the second half. We took over the second half and ruled that game. So we got a war of words going on between Dabo and Brian Kelly now. You just have to Google that. But I'm going with LSU on that, no doubt.
Yeah.
I can't pick Louisiana Tech, but you never know.
We all picked LSU.
Arizona State at Mississippi State.
Arizona State beat Northern Arizona 38-19, which is not exactly a big blowout. They're ranked pretty high, 12th, I think. And they were 11-3 last year. They lost to Texas 39-31 in the first round of the playoffs. So they're a pretty good football team. We don't hear much about them because they're out there in the West. But they're a legitimate team. Quarterback Sam Levitt is back to lead the team at the 61.7 completion percentage and 24 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. He has a passer rating of 150.2. Mississippi State, we know more about. Mississippi State's kind of always down in the bottom tier of the SEC, but they have been known to upset some people. And I'm going to pick them. They beat Southern Miss, and Southern Miss is a legitimate football team. They beat them 34-17. And so I'm going to go with Mississippi State in a mild upset. Mississippi State's not ranked. Arizona State's ranked. I don't know if it's a mild upset or not. It might be a big upset.
I think I picked Mississippi State too, didn't I, John?
Let's have a look.
It's hard to go against the SEC at home.
Arizona State's good. I mean, not taking anything away from them. I'm just picking Mississippi State for the heck of it. I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona State blows them out. They're pretty good. I watched them some late at night last year when they play. They don't play till like 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Well, to them, that's like 7.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going with Arizona State. I watched them play last year, and I was really impressed with them. And they got that quarterback, Sam Levitt, back. And I think they're going to be hard to deal with. I think they're a possible playoff team. And I think Mississippi State is Mississippi State. They're going to win 4 games. Their coach is in his 2nd year, and he hadn't had time to turn that around. He was the offensive coordinator for Oklahoma State before he came there. And
Oklahoma,
where he did a great job, or Oklahoma. And I think in time he may bring Mississippi State back to the level they had. What was that coach's name? The one that came from the West Coast.
he died.
He died. I can't think of his name.
I can't either.
Well, I'll know it next week. That was the only time that Mississippi State had got to a point where you're worried about them. And this guy's only in his 2nd year, so I don't think Mississippi State's up to where they're going to be, but I think Arizona State is pretty good shape. So I'm definitely going with Arizona State. And I don't think it's going to be that close.
No, probably not, but I'm still picking at Mississippi State because they're playing at home and they're an SEC school and they got a lot of pride going. And those Cowbells
too.
Damn Cowbells. I hate them. Damn Cowbells.
Yeah, Arizona State practiced with Cowbells this week.
I hate Cowbells. Really do. You should be.
Grandfathered in on the rule. Georgia couldn't use Cowbells, or any other SEC school could use it. Mississippi State's grandfathered in with it.
You have no idea what it's like to shoot a marathon where you're sitting there for 4 or 5 hours and 6 or 7 idiots are beside you with a cowbell doing that the whole time. And you're like, I want to kill all you people. If I had a gun, you would be in trouble. So I have grown to dislike them, probably because of that. Michigan at Oklahoma.
So this is one of the 2 best games of the week. And it's a great matchup between the Big Ten and the SEC. It's on Saturday, 7:30 p.m. on ABC. Both teams are kind of positioned in a similar way. They underperformed last year. You could say both of them did. They had Oklahoma managed to beat Alabama last year, but you could, after looking at Alabama this season, there's a way you could understand that. I've got Oklahoma because I think Brent Venables is going to have the Oklahoma defense ready for Michigan and their quarterback, Bryce Underwood. I think he can tune the defense enough to stop Michigan. I saw a position group by position group analysis of the game where they ranked them overall, all of FBS. And Oklahoma was consistently ranked higher. Every part of the defense, offensively, they're pretty closely matched. I've got Oklahoma mostly because of Brent Venables and the defense and the fact that it's at home at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I got pretty much the same reasons. Michigan's good, obviously. They're ranked pretty high. And I guess it'd be a mild upset if Oklahoma wins, but
Michigan's ranked 14.
Yeah.
Where it was last week anyway.
I think they're higher than that now. I think they're 12th or something.
Michigan's actually at, let's have a look here. Michigan's ranked 15th and Oklahoma is 18th.
Okay.
And I'm going to take this quick minute. I don't get the rankings, especially at this time of year. I think that, for example, we've got Florida ranked 15th, which they're a pretty good football team as we saw. But we've got Ole Miss at 20th. And if you put those two teams on the field right now, I think Ole Miss would beat Florida. And Tennessee's at 22. Is Tennessee that much worse than Florida? So, like I said, I don't get the rankings right now.
No,
I'm wondering why the hell LSU got all the way to 3.
Are they number 3?
They're 3.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't
3.
know.
Georgia's 4.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand how Georgia got jumped by LSU. We beat a team 45-7. We did what we were supposed to do. We went up 1, but we should have gone up to 3rd.
Yeah.
And LSU ought to be behind us because they sucked for the last 3 years. So, I don't
They
understand that
have
at
them
all.
going.
So,
Yeah, I think I went against form on this one. I usually pick the SEC schools, but I think in my bracket this time I had Michigan. Just one of those feelings. And Michigan disappointed last year. I think they may have a little something to prove. And but this one is a toss-up. It could go either way right now, at least on paper. So, but I think I'm going with Michigan.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the better games. I think it's going to be close.
I'm going
But I'm
Oklahoma.
going with Oklahoma. Who'd you go with, Bill?
Oklahoma.
All right.
I believe they're going to bring those Yankees down to the Southwest, and they're going to sweat them out. And Oklahoma's going to put it on them. Venable got the defense figured out. It's taken him a couple of years, and I think that that's what they're going to do. I think Oklahoma's going to win that game.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout one way or the other. I think the field goal might win it, or 2 or 3 points.
Yeah, I think it'll be close, but I think Michigan will melt in the second half.
Literally.
We've already seen some crap, and that's for sure. High school and college.
South Florida at Florida. This ought to be interesting.
yeah, this is going to be interesting. So South Florida at number 15, Florida. The spread has Florida favored by 17.5 points.
That's
the
crazy.
South Florida Bulls of the American Conference enter the Swamp in Gainesville, Florida, to play the 13th ranked Florida Gators at 4:15 p.m. on the SEC network. The Bulls, the South Florida Bulls, beat the Boise State Broncos last week, 34-7.
They didn't beat them; they mauled them.
The Broncos got on the board first, but after that, it was all Bulls, as Bill and William were telling us. The final score was lopsided, but if you look at the game stats, the teams were evenly matched, except for turnovers, 3 costly fumbles by the Broncos. The Bulls also pulled off a fake punt for a score, and I mention all of this because none of these things are likely to happen when the Bulls play Florida. The Gators, coached by Billy Napier, are favored, and they should be. They have a bigger, faster team on both sides of the ball. Quarterback DJ Lagway is in his second year with the offense. He's coming off of injuries and surgery after last season, but he looked good in the tune-up last week against Long Island University. He threw 3 TDs in Florida's 55-0 pummeling of LIU. Against South Florida, the Gators should be able to run with Jaden Baugh, who had a 100-yard game last week. In the passing game, watch freshman Vernell Brown III and TJ Abrams, who lit up the LIU defense last week. It's not going to be all Gators. I'm sure that South Florida is going to challenge Florida. It's not a conference game for Florida, but it is an in-state bragging rights kind of game. I look for Florida to win, but not cover.
Yeah, they're not going to cover, I don't think.
What's the line?
17.5 points.
I don't think they'll cover either.
I think you could take the line from Ole Miss and Kentucky which is Ole Miss by 10.5 points. Florida could cover that, and Ole Miss could cover Florida's spread of 17.5 points when they go to Kentucky and beat them like a drum this coming weekend.
Yeah, South Florida's pretty good. I was very impressed with them. I picked Boise State, and they looked awful compared to South Florida.
Yeah, I picked Boise State too, and I lost that big time. I'm definitely going Florida on this.
It hurts me because you just can't hate the Gators enough. But I'm gonna have to go with Florida in this one.
Yeah, I hate them too.
I think we all picked Florida, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Speaking of Ole Miss and Kentucky, John.
Let's talk about Ole Miss and Kentucky. So number 20, Ole Miss at Kentucky in Lexington. The spread has Ole Miss favored by 10.5 points, and I think they're going to cover that. The 20th ranked Ole Miss Rebels travel to Lexington, Kentucky on Saturday to take on the Kentucky Wildcats. The game is at 3:30 p.m. in Kroger Stadium on ABC. Both teams are 1-0. Kentucky beat Toledo last week. Ole Miss beat my alma mater, Georgia State, last week like a rented mule, 63-7. Kentucky coach Mark Stoops is working on with a first-year transfer QB, and the Ole Miss QB is a redshirt sophomore and a new starter this season. I think Kentucky is going to play offense conservatively, and Ole Miss does not do conservative offense. Going back to rankings, I think Ole Miss is consistently underranked. They were last year too, but they stopped Georgia in Starkville. They have an outside chance to do very well in the SEC this year. They're returning.
Ole Miss.
Go ahead, John.
Sorry, what did I say? Starkville, and it's Oxford.
Yeah.
Wrong Mississippi team. Anyway, they're returning 4 seniors on the defensive line. You hear about their flashy Lane Kiffin offense, but their defense is a big part of their. Ole Miss finished the season last year strongly, winning 3 of the last 4 games. Kentucky, on the other hand, lost 3 of their last 4. I think both trends continue, and Ole Miss wins and covers the spread. Also, Ole Miss will be out to avenge the upset loss to Kentucky last season.
That's what I was trying.
They lost at home 20-17 on a fumble recovery in the end zone by Kentucky. The caveat is this: they have to take care of the football. Ole Miss QB Austin Simmons threw 2 picks last week.
I think those 2 picks this week's gonna be rough for them.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to interrupt you for. Was they got a little bit of hatred for Kentucky because their loss last year really hurt them.
Yeah,
big time.
They should not have lost that game, but they did. That's why they play the games.
Absolutely.
That's it.
That's why we get paid to pick them.
I'm going with Ole Miss as well.
Bert Russell said that the football's a funny shape and it takes funny bounces.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm Ole Miss on this one.
Yeah, I am too. I don't remember making the pick, but surely I picked Ole Miss.
East Tennessee at Tennessee.
So ETSU, East Tennessee State University at number 22, Tennessee. ETSU leaves Johnson City, Tennessee to make the 1-hour drive down I-81 to Knoxville and the noisy confines of Neyland Stadium on Saturday. Game time is 3:30 p.m. and the game is carried on ESPN and or the SEC network. Tennessee is the prohibitive favorite at the moment. That was last night. There was no line on the game. That's how much Tennessee's favored. Nobody's taking bets on the game. ETSU is in the Southern Conference along with Furman, Mercer, Samford, and a host of other small schools. The head coach is Will Healy, the third head coach in 3 years for ETSU. ETSU had success last week thumping perennial doormat Murray State 45-17. Do not expect a similar outcome this week. Tennessee beat a decent Syracuse team 45-26 last week. They did it with 500 yards of balanced offense and an opportunistic defense. 2 fumble recoveries, 1 a scoop and score, and 1 interception. QB Joey Aguilar looks sharp, capable of getting the ball downfield or all around the field. Josh Heupel is going to use a vanilla version of the hurry-up offense with ETSU to tune up for Georgia on September 13th. It may be vanilla, but expect a lot of points on the board. Tennessee may win by 28 points.
I cannot believe that they don't have a line.
There was not one as of last night when I wrote that.
That just blows my mind because Tennessee's going to beat them by, I'll predict, minimum 3, but more like 4 or 5 touchdowns.
On the ESPN, the ESPN probability graph has Tennessee at 99 point something, and ETSU has a little sliver of hope, but it is a thin sliver.
Yeah, it's going to be 60-0. Then East Tennessee State might score on a lucky thing of some sort, but it's going to be a blowout.
I really wish Aguilar would have stayed at UCLA.
He's well traveled. He's Appalachian State before UCLA, I believe.
But he was only at UCLA for like 3 weeks, and then what's his name transferred to UCLA, and he said, "I'm not staying here with this guy," and he went to Tennessee. So basically, Tennessee swapped Aguilar for Hickamackabaka, whatever his name was. Like I said, I wiped him out of my memory because he's a loser, and I can say that UCLA got the crap beat out of them last week by Utah, and I really enjoyed watching that game. I stayed up till God only knows 30 to watch that game because I wanted to see him get his brains beat out. I really enjoyed it because he is a piranha, and I hope he makes a lot of money at UCLA because he'll never make any money in the NFL.
He says he's the former home of our former football classmate, Dennis Law.
That was my rant for the night. Anyway, why don't we take a quick commercial? Go ahead, Gary.
I was going to say, Tennessee's defense looks awfully good. I don't look too far ahead, Georgia, to Tennessee, because you're going to have your work cut out for you when you get to them. I think, John, in addition to those 2 big turnovers, they had 5 sacks last week too, didn't they? I mean, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. So, yeah, East Tennessee will be lucky to score. Yeah. Okay, commercial time.
Pay a bill.
Commercial time, yes. What, William?
Pay a bill.
Pay a bill. Here we go, paying bills. Boom, there go the lights. Back on us again. Y'all see that commercial? If you want to have some really cool looking gear, that Intelligent Ramblings logo, you can put it on t-shirts, you can put it on your hat, you can put it on your ball cap or your stocking hat, or you can put it on your shower curtain if you want to. We got it many ways that you can do it. So check out the Intelligent Ramblings spread shop and get yourself some cool gear.
All right.
Well, we had not a lot of upsets, but we had some interesting games last week, and I think we got a few interesting going this week as well. I think the Oklahoma and Michigan game and the Kansas and Missouri game are the top 2 to look at. I'll definitely be watching those. But any last words from the Jefferson Stevens County game is this Friday night. If anybody's interested in going with me, love to have you come up and watch the game. William?
I'm going to watch East Jackson and White County.
Oh, wow. Sounds like a really boring game.
North Hall and East Hall for me. I got to work it. So, John, did we have how we did last week in our picks? Did you ever come up with that?
I'm going to put this up. So there we are. Gary, William, John at 71%. Bill needs to make up some ground. He's 9 out of 14 at 64%.
I took a bath. Well, I mean, I picked Notre Dame to win, and they were supposed to win. I picked Boise State to win. They were supposed to win. Picked Clemson to win. I wanted them to win.
Yeah.
So
did I.
So.
A lot of us did that. That's why we're 71%, 64%. Yeah, and I picked Texas to win. If they had any idea how to win, they would have. But then again, that's just me. Oh, and before we leave,
Alabama, and I'm sure a lot of other people did too.
Yeah. Well, they just took a bath, but
I thought Notre Dame should have won, but they didn't.
Well, William, you and I were together 48 years ago this date. William was a groomsman in my wedding, and a happy anniversary to my lovely wife Jill, who, to use a football metaphor, with Jill I outpunted my coverage.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We'll all agree
No
with
question
that.
about it.
Happy anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that was a good day.
That was when the candles wouldn't light.
Well, we had performance there. Then my brothers and my so-called friends trashed my car so bad I had to borrow my daddy's Buick Electra 225, big old land yacht. I think Daddy drove that my Torino Ford around so long without getting it washed that I had to try to scrub out the white shoe polish off of it. I don't know that it ever came all the way out. But anyway, that's a long time ago.
It was. It seems like yesterday.
Well, all right, guys. Another good week and a good job, everybody. I appreciate your effort, and we will be seeing you again next week, Wednesday night at 8 p.m. here on YouTube and Facebook. Facebook groups or Facebook page. We have our Facebook page that you're welcome to join us, and please subscribe to us on YouTube at Intelligent Ramblings. And we will see you guys next week for another edition of Intelligent Ramblings.
And if you like the NFL, they open up this week too.
Yeah, Dallas,
Eagles.
Philadelphia.
Go Eagles.